In this video, I'm breaking down exactly why SEO takes so long. Tired of waiting months for traffic? I'm going to tell you the hidden secrets to speed the process up. So the question is, why does SEO take so long? Well, the thing about SEO is, yes, it takes long to get started, but the results are also long lasting. So you can post a blog post today and maybe it doesn't rank for the next few weeks or maybe months, but it will rank for years after that if you do it correctly. Let's take a more in-depth look at what is happening here. So Google's trust factors, that's the first thing we need to consider, right? So Google is not going to rank just any website. You need to build up that trust in Google, right? Otherwise, they just rank any scam websites, and that's what used to happen on Google. People would just rank really quickly something that wasn't very helpful to people, and then, make lots of money, and then Google would find out that it's a really bad website, right? So they invented this thing called the sandbox, okay? So the sandbox was basically like a period of time that a new website has to kind of prove its mettle, right? It has to prove that this is a really trustworthy website. And a few years ago when I started SEO, this took about 6 months. So maybe even 9 months, but it took a long time for new websites to get started. So you had to work on a website for 3, 4, 5, 6 months before you saw anything happening. Nowadays, I think the sandbox is a little bit less, in my opinion. Now it's only 2 months, maybe 3 months, which is a lot better, right? Because 6 months is a long time to work a lot and see no results. So nowadays, what I'm seeing is that you can actually get your pages ranked in Google quite quickly, even a week or two, and Google will start testing them, right? So what it will do, it will enter your page into the search engine results page, into the index basically, and you might rank number 2, you might rank number 3, and there will be what is called the Google dance, right? It's just like it's moving up and down. It'll show it in lots of different positions and see, the user engagement results, right? So it will test to see, are the people enjoying this content, right? And if not, it will go down the search engine results page. But usually you'll have this period of testing, right? So they'll test your new page, and your results will be like, you'll be number 4, number 2, and then you'll kind of go back down to, number 70 or something like that. And then after some period of time, you'll be tested up against your competitors, right, for that term, and hopefully you'll go up and up and up to like the top positions. So lots of people look at this number, the average position, right? The position of your pages, but I don't really think that's an important number, because let's say you start posting lots and lots of content, right? Actually, you're going to lower that position because all the new keywords are going to go into the index, right? And it's going to take them a while to get to the top position. So if you're posting lots of new content, your average position will be lower. And if you haven't posted anything, then you'll probably have a higher average position. So this is probably only the case if you just focus on really high quality, right? And you want to get only number 1s, okay? That's not really possible with any SEO, right? Google will just always rank some pages higher. You can't guarantee number 1 position for any piece of content, no matter how good a job you can do. I've tried. I've spent weeks on one piece of content and it didn't do anything, right? So it really depends on each content. That's why I like to, add lots of different pieces of content, because some is going to do well and some is not going to do well. And you just really have to try your best. So Google is looking at many different factors to see whether you can trust your website, right? Nowadays, it's also looking kind of briefly, if you have direct traffic, right? If you have branded search, that's becoming more important. So whatever your brand name is, are people typing that into Google because they saw you somewhere else? That's a factor that Google now sees, that is, this is a trustworthy website, because they're also on social media, they're on LinkedIn, they're on TV, stuff like that. That's Google's way of measuring that this is a real company. So that's definitely something to think about when you're starting out, maybe digital PR or any sort of PR to get your name out there and brand recognition. Okay, it's obviously another section of marketing, but it actually helps Google nowadays. So another frustrating thing about SEO is that SEO needs constant work, right? So you have to keep, adding new content, keeping stuff fresh. But often what happens is that your rankings go up, right? But then you have new competition, right? Especially that's what SEOs do. They often just check other websites, see what their top pages are, and then try to outrank them. So it's a constant competition, right? It's a zero-sum game, right? If you want to get to number one, somebody else also wants to get to number one, but there's only one number one spot, right? So it's a constant competition, and if your content is stale, right, if it's out of date, that's not a good sign to Google, right? So this is something that's very frustrating about SEO, right, that it needs constant work. So that's why it takes a long time, right, to get going, to do all this work, right, that you have to do. It's just a constant testing what's working right now and trying to outrank your competition. And the next thing it could be taking so long is because of indexing, right? So indexing is when you try to get your content into the Google index. So it kind of depends on your website. If it's a new website, I recommend adding it into the Google Search Console manually, right? So you just go to URL inspection and request index, because when you haven't built up those trust signals, Google is not going to just trust you, and everything you post is not just going to enter the index, right? And that is the case for many new websites. So you also don't want to waste Google's crawl budget, okay? So that means that you don't want to have all these extra pages on your website that aren't really intended to be in the Google index, right? So you have to keep your website very clean and make sure that you don't have lots of 404s and, pages basically that don't make any sense, or they're just random stuff that's not worthy of the Google index. So if you do have those pages you want to keep, you should no index them. And the last reason why it takes so long is because of Google updates. All right, so Google updates are happening more regularly nowadays than they used to, but they're also more volatile. So things are changing so fast now over the past year or two, where sites are going up a lot and down a lot, and Google is promoting all sorts of things. It can be very frustrating, right? That, Google, you might see that your competitors are ranking above you. But if you keep working on your pages, right, you keep trying to improve them, then, when the next Google update comes, then hopefully you can get a big boost. So sometimes that can be quite frustrating, right? When you see some piece of content at the top of Google that's not very good, right? But there's not much you can do. You just have to try to focus on your own game, right? Keep trying to improve and you will get there, right? And when Google, updates their algorithm, that's up to them, right? That's out of your control, right? So what's in your control is the content that you put out to Google, and that is what you should be thinking about. So in terms of content creation, I use a tool called Journalist AI, right? So this can save you such a lot of time when you are creating your blog post, right? It does a lot of the things that we are looking for nowadays, right? We need good images, we need good videos, we need internal links, we need external links. It does a lot of that for you. So I recommend this tool as a first draft, right? So you get your 2,000 word blog post from Journalist AI, and then you just try to add to it, right? Add, and you see what can I do to improve this, right? So this will speed up the process of getting your content ranked on Google. You can also go a lot faster, right? Before, I used to write like one blog post per day, and it would take me all day to get my, let's say, first draft done, because typing away, doing my research. This way I can publish 2 blog posts in an hour, 90 minutes, right? Because I get my first draft and then I just add as much extra knowledge that I can. I go to ChatGPT or Perplexity AI as well, add some extra information in there, whatever, and get some better images. Now I'm using an image generation tool called Flux. I can add in an extra beautiful image into my blog post. So that's how to speed up your content creation so that it doesn't take as much time, right? What you can do is also just publish as many blog posts as you can, 2 per day, for example, and then you'll definitely see more traffic from Google. So that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.